Thank you very much. We are coming to the interesting elections in this Congress, and it's the election of the PES president. As was agreed by the PES presidency in Riga, the deadline to present the candidature for the PES president was ended on the 17/14. On time, the PES presidency received one candidacy by the current PES president Sergei Stanishev and a backing letter from his party BSP Bulgaria. Since we have this one candidate, I would like to ask him to take the floor and to present his candidature. Sergei.
Thank you, Katarina. It's so exciting to be here, to see all of you. It's great to see here the leader of PES Women, Zita Gurmai, one of the pillars of our family and a real fighter for gender equality, and we shall continue this fight until we are fully successful. Because this year, 2018, it's 100 years since in many countries for the first time women received voting rights. It was just 100 years ago. Look what a change, and we have always been on the lead in this change, fighting for women's rights, and we shall keep on doing this. It's great to see Udo, Maria Joao here, the leader of our foundation. And actually, it's your home, in a way, this university, Maria Joao. Pleasure to be here. To see the Secretary General of the European Trade Union Confederation, Luca Visentini, and I see our friend Nicola Schmidt, and all of you, dear comrades, brothers and sisters. I would like at the beginning to thank Antonio Costa and Partido Socialista in Portugal for what they do, not only in welcoming us here in Lisbon, but in the first place for what they do for their country and their people. Because after 3 years of socialists in power, led by Antonio, you can see a transformed, changed country. A country which is not gloomy anymore, a country which is hopeful, a country which is being pulled out of the economic crisis and social inequalities, because for the first time in about 30 years, inequalities are decreasing in Portugal. And this is what I call a real success. But this is not a God-given success. This is a success which is hard work by the socialists in the country. And I would also like to thank Antonio for the inspiration which all of us received by being here. We need success stories. We need to show that socialist governments can deliver, that they are working for average, normal people, and they are changing their lives for better. And thanks to all of you for being here, united and self-confident in a moment which is difficult, because we all realize the challenges which we are facing. We all hear the prophets which are saying, social democracy is dead. Are you dead? No. And I want you to say it loud, here, now, during these 2 days, and to bring it to your countries, because we are a family of 150 years. We've had our great achievements. We've had our failures. We have been succeeding and we have been falling, but we always rise on our foot because our values are real. They address the real concerns of people, and we shall never give up on them. We all understand that the Europe we believe in, the Europe of freedom, social fairness and solidarity, the Europe of sustainability in every aspect of this world, is besieged, it's threatened, it's attacked from two directions. From the extreme right populists who just want to destroy it and who promise a future actually based on a past which never existed, the so-called golden past, but who want to antagonize nations, who want to antagonize societies, who want people to clash. They need the enemy from within and from outside in order to have strength for themselves. They exploit fears which are real in many ways, because too many people are feeling abandoned by the national governments and by Europe. And they exploit it, but in a ruthless way and not for the interest of the people. And Europe is also threatened by the arrogant complacency of the EPP, who's saying the austerity policy was right, we are overcoming the crisis, and we need to be calm. Business as usual is good for all. Well, it is not, because the price which was paid is unbearable. Many societies were literally destroyed, the fabric of the societies, and we socialists cannot be part of this. And we have to be aware that these true threats which are attacking Europe, they are very often working together at a national level. We see what's happening in Austria. We see in many other countries. We see them growing, and I believe, and we see that they're getting together at a European level because EPP is getting Orbanized. And Manfred Weber is saying that they need to create bridges to Salvini, they need to create bridges to Orban. This is not our way. We shall resist it strongly. And we shall oppose both these threats in Europe because we know our responsibility. And you know, I want to tell you something. Sometimes we take what we have as European citizens for granted. But just less than 80 years ago, it's less than one life cycle of a human being, Europe was in flames. Europe was destroyed. Millions and millions were dead, and so many people suffered. And Europe raised from ashes thanks to a dream. And this dream is very well exemplified by the anthem of Europe, the Ode to Joy. We all have heard it many times, and it's a wonderful melody. But we usually hear it in the upbeat, in the glorious part of this melody. And I will tell you what happened to me a few days ago, maybe 10 or 14 days. My 77-year-old daughter goes to piano lessons once a week. And she's doing good progress. So she came back from her lesson and started on the piano rehearsing a new melody. I was reading something, and all of a sudden I started recognizing the melody, which we all know. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, but when you hear it played in an unconfident way by a child, you can feel the fragility of Europe. It's like a flower, like a gentle flower. If you wish, a historical aberration from the thousands of years of wars and destruction. It has to be protected. It has to be cherished. And we are the ones who have this historical responsibility. For the sake of those who are courageous to abandon the black, dark past, and for the sake of our children and grandchildren, there is no retreat for us from this position. And this will be like this in these elections. But if we want to be credible, talking to people about our plans for Europe, which are very good, Udo, which are very good, Maria Joao, which we elaborate together and which are a real plan, we also have to admit our mistakes and failures in the past, because then we shall be more credible. Because there were good times for Europe and for our family when we had 11, 12, 13 prime ministers. And we could then deliver the welfare state which we created in our countries to the European level. We failed. We missed this opportunity. We have to admit that we didn't create solid enough grounds for our common currency, that it was shaken by the economic crisis. Sometimes we embrace the liberal, neoliberal mantra of the fair market, which is creating welfare for all. And this actually paved the way for speculative capitalism and for the financial and economic crisis. Sometimes addressing the countries of Central and Eastern Europe, we were giving also wrong proposals and examples which weakened their economy, which created oligarchic capitalism in many of these countries and created such big inequalities that people are discontent. Because we are a family which is fair and honest, and if we say this, we shall be even more credible our now new plans, because today we shall be discussing our resolutions. They are really revolutionary in substance, and this is good. We achieved it together, with working with each party and each organization of our family. And we want a different economic policy directed towards sustainable growth, solid working places, and of course the core of our manifesto on policy and fight will be social Europe. This is our identity. This is where we can win back confidence of people, because people need solid work, equal rights, irrespectively of the sector where they work, in the traditional economy or in the digital sector, irrespectively of the country. They need wages which are high enough to live a decent life everywhere in Europe. This is our policy. And we shall not let workers from the East be imposed to the workers from the West. We have to find the common way for all people in Europe having well-being. And we shall stand up and fight for the youth plan which we elaborated together, because young people in Europe are risking to be the lost generation for Europe, and then you should not expect them to be pro-European. We are the only ones who really have a European plan about the young people. We should deliver it all and really promise and make a pledge, not empty words, that in the next institutions we shall work for this. This will be our red line vis-à-vis all potential partners. We are the ones who will work for fair taxation on GAFA and the big corporations, because it's abnormal that they pay 0 taxes or 9% taxes, having the turnout annually sometimes 3 or 4 times more than the GDP of some of the countries in Europe, and not the smallest ones. We are the ones which can change this, and we are the ones which can deliver a sustainable policy handling the migration chain challenge, providing strong, secure European borders, providing also humanitarian aspect and dignified attitude to the refugees, and the solidarity aspect, because not a single country should be left alone when it faces such a crisis. And we are providing all these policies because we know for sure that in this global world, not even the biggest and most successful country in Europe, like, let's say, Germany, can handle with these challenges on their own. Only together we can make Europe prosperous, strong enough, self-confident, good place for living. This is a dream, and it's a beautiful dream, and it's worth fighting for. And I would like to end up with a few other words, dear friends. Look, we are a self-critical family. Yes, that's true. But let's be clear. I'm confident. These elections are far from decided. They are completely open. It's in our hands to make them a big return for the social democratic family. But we can do it only together. We are in the eyes of a perfect storm. It can destroy Europe, it can destroy a family, but if we are united, if we are ambitious, self-confident, we can do it. You will be hearing from France tomorrow. And I'm very proud of having such a candidate. France could have avoided this fight. He could have had a good perspective as Commissioner for the future, sparing his fight, sparing the attacks on him. But I'm confident, you are confident, and you will be even more confident tomorrow that he is the person who has a mission, and he will do it. And finally, when I mentioned that we are self-critical, we should also be proud of who we are, because we are worth it. Our values are worth it. Our family has its history. We're entering a new period which requires, a new era, which requires new solutions, and we have them. So, dear friends, let's stop whining, complaining that we are weak, that we cannot change. Let's stop self-flagellation. Let's stand up, keep our ranks together, make a good fight, and win the European elections. That's it. Thank you.